Releasing grief with true unity. Grief is an integral part of our lives. No matter our age, one way or another, we will grieve. We will be grieving the death of a loved one, the loss of a relationship, the death of a pet, the loss of a job. Grief is natural, but we don't always process grief in a healthy way. Sometimes I see people with grief that's 20 years old, and while everybody knows the stages of grief, sometimes we don't process through them. So if you notice that grief is overwhelming or still very visible in your life, this is the video for you. If you haven't done any True Unity videos before, simply follow along with the steps or check out True Unity Explained to check out more about this technique. So the first thing to do is always to accept our grief. And this is why grief sometimes takes a long time. People run away from these feelings of pain, of loss, of sadness, because they don't want to feel them. They just want to move on. And by suppressing these feelings, it's just a matter of time before they pop up in horrible ways during our life. So the first thing to do is to be gentle with yourself and to say, I accept my grief. And if you accept your grief at this moment, you can feel sadness, you can maybe feel a little pain in your throat area, and that's okay. Grief is sad. It's a moment where we feel how sad it is to be in a world without this person, or without your pet, or having to build a new life after a relationship, or the loss of a job, or whatever loss you're grieving. And it's okay to be sad. And by accepting these feelings and standing in them, you might suddenly feel that you are feeling this soft energy coming upon you. And just breathing in and out and saying, I accept my grief. It's still sad, but you should be feeling more okay with yourself and the world. So once we accepted our grief, the second part is to understand that yes, grief is meant to be processed. In one way or another, we do need to move on. That's not a betrayal of our loss. It doesn't mean that we haven't lost our loved one or we're not grieving. It means that we actually acknowledge that it is in the past, that there's nothing we can do about it anymore. There's no magical solution. And it's okay to understand that we still have a life to live. So the second thing to do is I give myself the permission to move on. I give myself the permission to move on. This can be really tough. You might feel very strong blockage here in the belly and lower chest area. You might really feel strong emotion at this time. Just breathe in and out. I give myself permission to move on, to actually understand that your life is still going on. That's why you're watching this video. Your life has not ended. And even though grief can make you feel like your life has ended, it hasn't. So just breathing in and out. Just give yourself the permission to move on. And that it's okay to still have a life. And that it's okay to still build your life. This can take a while, just breathing in and out. And then the final step is, I process my grief. I process my grief. And this might be the part where if you look back on your life, on the connection that you lost, on the job you lost, that you can actually feel some joy, that you can actually remember the good times you had with a person or the wonderful way you felt about your job without emotions of pain, without sadness, just breathing in and out. Allow that grief to be processed. You can ask for help from the angels if you feel better about it, or any kind of higher power you're okay with. I allow my grief to be processed. If you still feel stuck, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and we can in-depth go to why this grief is not processing for you. And if your grief is very fresh, you can repeat the steps until you feel better and you come to a place where you can actually feel love and kindness and joy of being part of somebody or something